Hi, and welcome to BeatleDave's Beatles channel. Today's video is episode 6 of the solo years, so please, ram on. So welcome then one and all to BeatleDave's Beatles channel today. Hope I find all you fantastic people doing really well out there, and thank you so much for joining me today. So today's video then is episode 6 of the solo years, the 1970s, where we'll be looking at the 1971 album by Paul Linda McCartney, Ram, which is definitely a big step forward for Paul after his debut album, and also features some lyrics aimed at his best friend, John. So this series then, I will be showing every single solo Beatles album in order of release from the 1970s, also including any USA issues and reissues, and of course any 8 tracks along the way as well. So now though, it's time for something a little bit different. It's Ask BeatleDave, yeah! So yes, welcome to Ask BeatleDave, where I'll be answering your questions that you have about anything Beatles related, maybe about an item that I've shown, or haven't shown, anything to do with the guys' films or solo careers, you name it, and I'll try to answer it right here. So today's question then is from Zach Stargaze. Hiya Zach, how you doing my friend? Hope you're well. And he asks, BeatleDave, if you could make a super deluxe edition of any album, what would it be and what would you include? Well, my favourite Beatles album has to be obviously the White Album, which has obviously been released already as a deluxe set. Now, although I actually felt that it was a bit light on bonus tracks, as well as not including the likes of the 27-minute Helter Skelter. So another favourite Beatles LP of mine, which hasn't had the deluxe treatment as yet, is Rubber Soul, which I really feel that will be the next release after Revolver that we had late last year. So as well as a proper stereo mix, as the original one is mainly vocals one channel and instruments the other, I really do hope they include many of the demos and earlier takes of tracks like Norwegian Wood, The Word, Michelle, Think for Yourself, and of course all the complete takes of 12 Bar Original. Now there is plenty of speech and alternate mixes too, which hopefully they'll include, so fingers crossed on that one. So Zach, I really hope that answers that question for you, and guys, if you'd like to include a question on Ask BeatleDave, just send me a question in the comments and I'll include it in a future episode. It's that simple. So come on guys, please me by getting involved and ask me some super questions. Okay now, so right now we're moving on. It's time for I Call Your Name. So yes, it's them old shout outs, and it's a great big BeatleDave hello to Pete Terry, David Barron, Gino, Will C137, Alexander MacDonald, Anthony Pierce, Martin Robinson, how you doing Martin, and Mark Fogden. So that's a great big special hi to you guys from yours truly, BeatleDave. So on to the main event then today guys, and it's the solo years episode 6 and the Paul and Linda McCartney album Ram. So please come and join me. Paul and Linda McCartney's Ram LP was first released in the USA on the 17th of May 1971 and 4 days later in the UK on the 21st of May. It would be the first and only time to be jointly credited to Paul and Linda McCartney. The album's release coincided with a period of acrimony between McCartney and his former Beatles bandmates, which followed his legal action in the High Court to dissolve the Beatles partnership. Flying to New York in October 1970 with his family, McCartney decided to hold auditions for musicians who were actually brought in under the guise of recording a commercial jingle. Initial auditions were held in an attic at 45th Street where Linda picked out Dave Spinoza. They then moved to a basement in the Bronx where Denny Sywell was brought in to play drums. Basic tracks were taped at Columbia Studio B in October to November 1970, with Hugh McCracken replacing Dave Spinoza when he was unavailable. After these sessions, the McCartneys then returned home to Scotland for the Christmas season. Work resumed in early 1971 at Columbia, with Paul singing and playing guitar or piano simultaneously, and choosing to overdub his bass later on, with Linda also supplying backing vocals along with Linda's daughter Heather, who sang backing on Monkberry Moon Delight. The New York Philharmonic Orchestra was brought in for the tracks Uncle Albert Admiral Halsey, The Backseat of My Car, and also the soon-to-be-released debut single, Another Day. It was during these sessions that Paul had recorded an orchestral instrumental version of Ram, which was finally released in 1977 as Thrillington under the pseudonym Percy Thrills. Other tracks recorded during the sessions but not used included B-side Little Woman Love and also Red Road Speedway tracks Get on the Right Thing, Big Barn Bed, Little Lamb Dragonfly and the Live and Let Die B-side I Lie Around. John Lennon believed that several Ram tracks were personal jibes at him and Yoko, mainly being the lyrics of Too Many People, with McCartney conceding to admit that the song was indeed a little dig at John and Yoko. It was also considered that the two copulating Beatles on the cover of Ram was symbolic as to how McCartney was being treated by his former bandmates, with Ringo and George stating that the song Three Legs was an attack on the 3X Beatles. The album reached number 1 in the UK and number 2 in the US, where it spent over 5 months in the top 10 and went platinum. Initial reviews of Ram were extremely harsh and critical, but in recent years the album has been held in high regard, being rated as one of his best albums. So let's take a look. So here it is then, the Paul Linda McCartney album Ram, released in the UK on the 21st of May 1971 on Apple Records catalogue number PAS 10003. So on to the fabulously colourful cover then. Of course you've got the title there, Ram, top left, with Paul and his Ram. It's got some really colourful graphics there. And of course on the right hand side there you've got LILY, which if you don't know means Linda I Love You, of course, abbreviations. Fully laminated cover this one. Really fabulous, beautiful condition. Of course you've got a picture of Paul and the family there. And of course on the right hand side the copulating Beatles. And top right there, of course, you've got the catalogue number and stereo. So let's just take a look at the inner sleeve, which is also laminated. So fully laminated in and out on this particular sleeve, being a first pressing. And of course, there you've got Ram by Paul and Linda McCartney. Side 1, Too Many People, Three Legs, Ram On, Dear Boy, Uncle Albert Admiral Halsey, Smile Away. So side 2, then of course, you've got Heart of the Country, Monkberry Moon Delight, Eat at Home, Long Haired Lady, Ram On, and The Backseat of My Car. And of course you've got with Denny Sywell, Dave Spinoza, and Hugh McCracken. And also you've got sound engineers Tim, Ted, Phil, Dixon, Armin, and Jim. With mixing engineer either Ulrich the Norwegian or possibly Eric the Norwegian there. And you've got cover photography Linda, and of course you've got artwork by Paul, produced by Paul and Linda McCartney. And then at the bottom there we've got an Apple record, an EMI recording, and of course McCartney Productions Inc. 1971. And some pictures of Paul and Linda on the right hand side. Really fabulous cover this one, beautiful condition. So there's the spine then. So we've got an Apple in a bag here, as you can see. Copyright exists in all Apple recordings. And of course you've got the patents number, bottom left. And of course also you've got Made in Great Britain on the right hand side at the bottom as well. And of course exactly the same on the other side. So onto the vinyl then. Of course we've got the Dark Apple label then. It was actually Paul's last album to feature the actual Granny Smith as well. Obviously subsequent albums feature different labels. So of course there you've got the Apple Records details around the rim with Ram at the top there. And of course you've got an EMI recording, 33 1/3, manufactured in the UK, and side 1 on the left, with stereo on the right, the catalogue number, and P 1971. With all the tracks listed there, and of course Paul and Linda McCartney. It's in beautiful condition this one, absolutely fantastic. With the matrix on side 1 being YEX 837-1. Let's flip that over then. the side 2. Once again, they got the Apple records around the perimeter with an EMI recording with the 33 1/3, manufactured in the UK, and side 2. With on the right there, you got stereo, the catalogue number, and of course the P1971. With all the tracks listed there, and of course Paul and Linda McCartney. And the side 2 matrix then being YEX 838-1. And I think Ram actually is probably within my top 5 McCartney albums ever, favourite albums. I actually, really do like this album. Certainly a step up from McCartney, there's no doubt. So on to a second pressing then of Ram, and this one was released approximately around 1973 on Apple Records, catalogue number PAS10003. So on to that fabulous cover again. Once again, you got Ram top left, and of course you got Paul and the Ram, with that little message to Linda there on the right hand side. Fully laminated on the front and the back. And of course on the inside this time, all subsequent copies of Ram were actually like a matte finish, if you like. You got all the same details there, of course, Ram by Paul and Linda McCartney, with all the tracks and of course all the players and the producers. And at the bottom there, of course, an EMI recording, and of course an Apple record, and McCartney Productions Inc. 1971. With all the pictures of Paul and Linda on the right hand side, of course. And then we got that spine. So we've got a plain white inner then for this particular edition. Someone's written in there in pencil there, of course, the catalogue number and £2.75. An absolute bargain. And on the bottom left there, you got, of course, made in England and the patents number on the right hand side. So this being a second pressing in, of course, we've got a lighter Apple label. Really nice though still, looks really cool. You've got that Apple records around the perimeter there with Ram, the title above the centre hole. And of course on the left there, you've got an EMI recording, 33 1/3, manufactured in the UK and side 1. With on the right there, you've got stereo with the catalogue number and the P1971. With all the tracks listed there for side 1, and of course Paul and Linda McCartney. With the matrix on side 1 being YEX 837-1, same as the previous version. So flip that over then, of course. With side 2, got the Apple records around the perimeter again there with Ram above the centre hole, and an EMI recording on the left with 33 1/3, manufactured in the UK and side 2. With on the right there, you got stereo, the catalogue number and P1971. With all the tracks listed for side 2 and Paul and Linda McCartney. Of course there, the matrix on side 2 then is YEX 838-1. And once again, this is another beautiful copy, really fantastic condition. So on to a third pressing of Ram by Paul and Linda McCartney then, approximately released between 1975 to the late 1970s on Capitol Records, catalogue number PAS10003. So on to the cover then, of course, which is laminated on the front and the back. Once again, you've got that Ram there with Paul and the Ram. And of course, the little message to Linda. Really nice, colourful cover, this one. Really great looking. Of course, on the back there, once again, got all the details as before, with the catalogue number and stereo there, top right. Of course, we got the gatefold sleeve, which is a matte finish. Got all the details there, all the track listings, and all the credits. Of course, bottom left there, there's no Apple details this time. It's got MPL Communications Inc. with McCartney Productions Inc. 1971 there at the bottom. All the same photos there as before. And of course, we got that spine. Just your plain white inner for this particular copy. No frills. So on to the vinyl then, which is obviously a Capitol label this time. So you've got that Capitol details at the top there, the trademark there, with the MPL logo on the left. And of course you've got 1971 MPL Communications Inc. With on the right there stereo, and of course you've got the catalogue number. Then we've got Ram and all the tracks listed there with Paul and Linda McCartney, with EMI Records Limited at the bottom there. And of course the matrix is exactly the same as the previous issues, which is YEX 837-1 on side 1. And flipping that over then, side 2. Once again there you've got the capital trademark details at the top there and the logo, with MPL on the left. Of course you've got manufactured in the UK, the P 1971 and MPL Communications Inc. And on the right there we've got stereo with the catalogue number, and side 2 with RAM and all the tracks listed there, and Paul Linda McCartney. So the matrix then on side 2, same as the previous issues, which is YEX 838-1. And this is in absolutely fantastic condition as well. A little bit thin on the vinyl, but it plays pretty good. So moving on then to the USA pressings of RAM by Paul and Linda McCartney, released on the 17th of May 1971 on Apple Records, catalogue number SMAS3375. So starting with the cover then, of course, it's got no lamination. It's just got like a sheen to the actual sleeve itself. It's in nice condition though, this one. Of course, you've got Paul there with his RAM, and RAM on the left. And of course, you've still got that little message to Linda there on the right-hand side. But it's in great condition, this sleeve, really nice. Hard to get these without any ring wear. Exactly the same on the back there. Of course, you've got the gatefold, exactly the same. You've got the catalogue number top left there, with all the details of the tracks and everything there. Bottom left, we got the Apple. And of course, you've got McCartney Productions Inc. 1971, with printed in USA. And all the same pictures. And then, of course, we got that spine. So we've got the standard Apple inner from the particular time. No frills, of course. So onto the vinyl. Quite a heavyweight vinyl, this one. Nice weight to this one. Of course, you've got a fabulous looking Apple label there. I really like these ones. Look pretty cool. You've got RAM, Paul and Linda McCartney there with stereo and the catalogue number and side 1 with all the tracks listed there. And of course at the bottom, manufactured by Apple Records Inc. So the matrix on side 1 then is SMAS-1-3375. So flip that over to side 2 then. So we've got RAM, Paul and Linda McCartney with stereo, of course the catalogue number, and side 2 on the right with all the tracks listed. And of course you've got produced by Paul and Linda McCartney at the bottom there. With the matrix being on side 2, SMAS-2-3375. Nice condition this. So on to another American pressing then of RAM by Paul and Linda McCartney, released on the 17th of May 1971 on Apple Records, catalogue number SMAS-3375. So once again the cover is exactly the same as the previous issue. Got a nice sleeve, this one. Just a tiny little bit of ring wear around the outside on this back here, as you can see. And just at the bottom. But it's in great condition considering. Very prone to ring wear. All the same details as before, although this particular one doesn't have the catalogue number top left. But you've still got the Apple bottom left there, and of course you've got McCartney Productions Inc. at the bottom, 1971. But there's a slight variation with this record, which I'll show you in a moment. So let's just get on with the spine. And look at that, and then we'll look at the vinyl. Standard inner sleeve, once again, produced by Apple at the time. So onto the vinyl then. Of course, everything looks normal when we bring it out for side 1. So we've got that full Apple label there on side 1, of course, with RAM and Paul and Linda McCartney with stereo on the right. Got the catalogue number and side 1. But of course, all the tracks listed there and produced by Paul and Linda McCartney. With side 1 matrix being SMAS-1-3375. And then we're going to flip it to side 2. And once again, we've got a full Apple label. How bizarre is that? I don't know if that's intentional or just a mistake or whatever, but if you've got one out there, let me know. So you've got RAM there and Paul and Linda McCartney once again with stereo and the catalogue number and side 2 with all the tracks listed. And of course, at the bottom, produced by Paul and Linda McCartney. So the matrix on this side 2 variation is SMAS-2-3375-F12. So slightly bizarre, this one. So before I show an incredibly rare RAM item, I've got the USA 8-track which was released on the 17th of May 1971 on Apple Records and Tapes, catalogue number 8XW3375. So let's take a look at the actual tape itself then. Of course, as you can see there, you've got Ram, of course you've got Paul and his sheep. I think I can just about see the L-I-L-Y on the right hand side. Of course, there you've got Paul and Linda McCartney Ram, with program 1, 2, 3 and 4, slightly different order there, just towards the end of the album. Apple 8-track stereo. Of course, on the back, once again, you've got the Apple 8-track stereo warranty, with that little Apple logo at the bottom. And then at the top, once again, Apple 8-track stereo. Then all the details of the album itself there. And this one's not sealed, but it's in great condition, as you can see. Really nice. And there's the actual tape itself there. Fabulous to collect these. I really like collecting these 8-tracks. So the final item then I'm going to show them related to the album Ram by Paul and Linda McCartney is this Capital promotional LP which is called Brung to You by, and its catalogue number is SPRO6210. So the cover then is just a plain white cover. This is how you would have received this back in the day at a radio station as a DJ. But there's nothing on the spine either, just a plain white cover. And actually I've got the 2 sheets which you could have got with your copy, but these are actually printed that I found on the internet. Haven't got the original ones, which is a bit of a shame, but it tells you about the actual songs within the album, or the 15 promotional spots of course. But you've got on the bottom there, Ram on, Paul and Linda McCartney. Got an address of Central Park West, obviously that's where John Lennon lived in his final days. And some more details there, of course, we've got Central Park West address there again. And of course, this album contains 15 different 30-second and 60-second introductions to the Ram album tracks. And of course, regards there, Diane Brooks, McCartney Productions, Inc. So onto the vinyl itself then, and I have shown this actually before on the channel, but I'll put it on the channel now for those who want to see it again. Obviously, this is a one-sided Capital promotional LP for the album Ram called Brung to You by. It's incredibly rare. It's got 15 banded tracks there, and obviously this has been counterfeited rather a lot. And if your copy's got an asterisk on the run out area, you know you've got a genuine copy. Just the same as the banding between the tracks is very equal. You can check both of those details out, but that's how you tell a fake from a real edition. But the matrix on this particular copy is SPRO-6210-Z1-EW/N, and of course you should have an asterisk as well for a genuine copy. But this one is incredibly rare, and there can't be that many about these days, I'm guessing. But it's a really fantastic condition, this. There's nothing on the other side, just completely blank, but it's incredibly rare. So thank you all for joining me today, guys, and tuning in on the solo years, and I really hope you've enjoyed seeing all those fantastic Ram LPs that I got from my collection. And of course, I really appreciate any comments or communication that I get from any of you Beatles people, and I'll always come back to you as soon as I can. So the next episode of the solo years then will of course be back again next month with the one and only John Lennon album, Imagine. And what a fantastic album it really is. So the next video then, it's back to the Apple Records album series, and it's the second and final Billy Preston Apple LP, Encouraging Words. So please make sure you're here again in 2 weeks, same Beatles time, same Beatles channel. So anyway, as always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, why not give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. This is BeatleDave signing off. Ram on.